Hey, what's up everybody, Nexel here. Today we are playing Kingdom Hearts Union Cross, and today is a big day. So, I will be using 7 Mickey and Brooms in order to gilt 3 different medals here. And I know that kind of sounds like, well, why would he make such a big deal over this? And the reason for that is because I have the tendency to kind of hoard onto game resources that I think will be very useful down the line. So, for example, anyone who's ever played like Final Fantasy, I was the guy that held on to elixirs until like the very last part of the game. Or I might not even use them at the very last part of the game, but the point is I kept holding on to them, never used them, even though they could have helped me somewhere down in the game. And it's going to be the same deal with Mickey and Brooms. So I've been hoarding these guys, thinking that one day I might need X amount of Mickey and Brooms for whatever reason. And honestly, it's kind of insane how out of control it got. So let's just go ahead and take a look. So I have a total of 18 Mickey and Brooms right now, which is insane. Nobody needs that many Mickey and Brooms in their storage. At best, I would hold on to about 6 to 9, because a lot of the EX medals nowadays, their banners come with a medal that's guaranteed within 5 pulls. So for example, with this Roxas Art EX banner, we had the HD Xion that was merciable within 5 pulls. And if you save at least 6 Mickey and Brooms, if you get both the EX medal as well as the Mercy medal, you have enough Mickey and Brooms to gilt both of them. So that's why I'd recommend at least holding on to 6 in case something like that ever occurred. So again, to have 18 is just really, really absurd. The Mickey and Brooms themselves don't have any sort of intrinsic value just sitting in your shelf like that, so they're better off being used. So, you know, that sounds really obvious, but when you're a gamer that likes to hoard, you know, very valuable resources like this, it's a very, very hard wall to get over. So with that being said, it is still a special attack bonus slash guilting campaign for the next 30 minutes. So I want to be able to use these Mickey and Brooms within that time frame in order to save some magic mirrors. Now, I want to do just a really quick explanation of the special attack campaign and why it's particularly good, as well as a very brief overview as to why you should use Mickey and Brooms on some medals. So I will go ahead and explain really quickly or at least as quickly as I possibly can, why it's important to make use of a guilt campaign. So we are back on the Kingdom Hearts Unchained Kai, which was the old name. It's now Union Cross, but they bought the domain, so I mean, whatever, it's fine. So this is going to be our guilt chart. Now, as you see, that 4th column is going to be the damage increase, and then the 5th column is the during campaign bonus. So let's just, again, for example, let's look at level 2. So if you guilt a medal and it's tier 2, outside the campaign, it could be anywhere between 20 and 50%. But during the campaign, it would only be between 30 and 50%. So at the very least, that's 10 magic mirrors you didn't need to use. Now, where this becomes important is a little bit further down the line when it comes to tier 4, tier 5, tier 6, and in the future, tier 7. So as you can see, for tier 4s, you're saving a minimum of 30 magic mirrors by guilting during the campaign. For a tier 5, you're saving a minimum of 20. For tier 6, you're saving a minimum of 40 magic mirrors, which is really, that's a lot of mirrors. That is, if you take into account like magic mirror VIP weeks, that's like 6 weeks of magic mirror VIP, which is crazy. So definitely, if you have tier 6s that you want to guilt, definitely do that during the campaign period, because 40 mirrors is a lot. And then after that, tier 4s, because again, that's a 30 magic mirror difference. And then to an extent, tier 5s, it's only a 20 magic mirror difference, which isn't too bad when you compare it to the tier 6s, which is twice the amount, and tier 4s, which is going to be times 1.5 the amount of magic mirrors difference that's made. So that's why it's very important to take use of the special attack bonus campaigns when they come, because of how many magic mirrors you can save, especially with those tier 6s and the tier 4s. And, you know, the tier 7s. Tier 7s are going to save you 40 magic mirrors similarly to the tier 6s. Now, with that being said, why would I want to gilt a specific medal, even if it is a tier 4? And the reason for that, and mind you, I had to use paint because it's the best thing I got right now. So this is why. So when we take a look at this, list, and I know there's like a lot of weird like math and stuff that I've been using. So when we take a look at this list, really the important part is on the right. So we have a total of 22 tier 4s out right now, 31 tier 5s out, and then 4 tier 6s right out, for a total of 57 premium medals that you could draw within banners. Now, why you would use Mickey and Brooms on something that's even just a tier 4 is because a chance of you getting that specific tier 4 during a banner that guarantees 1 tier 4 or higher medal is only 1.75, and that's a really, really slim chance. And then for the tier 5 banners, like the current falling price banner that guarantees 1 tier 5 or higher, it's only a 3% chance that you'll get that specific tier 5 again. So, with that being said, you know, you can either use some Mickey and Brooms, or you can keep gambling the chance, keep wasting jewels. So in this case, I'm just going to want to use the Mickey and Brooms to not have to keep gambling that chance. Again, that's just a brief overview. I'll make a separate video so that way people don't have to watch this video in order to get that sort of mini lecture. But with that being said, we are 6 minutes into the video. Let's go ahead and start gilting. So our first gilt is going to be our pal Demix B. So I don't need to use any Mickey and Brooms, nor do I want to use any Mickey and Brooms on this. But I do have enough to gilt the Demix B. I was able to get all the copies, and the trait that I'm keeping on it for now is aerial enemy defense minus 60, unless we roll for ground enemy defense minus 60, which would be better just because there's more red enemies, power enemies that are grounded rather than in the air. So let's go ahead and throw on some experience. You know what? We're gonna do this the traditional way that I like to do this kind of thing. So I'll put it right in the middle, and then let's go for gilt. So I like to slow roll these because, you know, how often am I going to be able to roll into Demix B trait and gilt? So gilt is going to be 83. Not bad. 17 magic mirrors to Nova, or to max, so that's really good. And for our trait, we are going to get defense plus 2,000. Okay, definitely not going to keep that. This medal is definitely an attacking medal, so let's go ahead and bypass that guy. Alright, so this is our Demix B. It has aerial enemy defense minus 60, which is going to be useful for things like ogres, which are flying red enemies, submarine carps, which are flying red enemies. So yeah, there's Demix B. Let's move on to the first medal we are going to use a Mickey and Brooms on. And I'm going to get, you know, kind of scolded for this by some people, but I think the choice totally makes sense. So the first one is going to be this World of Final Fantasy Lightning. Now, I'm going to get just a lot of bad feedback that World of Final Fantasy Lightning is outclassed. You know, there are a lot of better medals than her. But hear me out, and this took a lot of thinking. I had to really, really think about this. So the reason I'd want to gilt World of Final Fantasy Lightning is for this setup. For this setup specifically, which would be my new raid setup. Ignore the fact that Starlight's at 25 right now. I can always boost it up later. But this would be my new raid setup. Because, again, with raids, you don't really worry about the defense of a raid boss, because it's pretty negligible. It's almost zero. So the World of Final Fantasy Lightning does superior damage to all attributes, no matter what they are. So having World of Final Fantasy Lightning in that slot, and then having that ability be copied by HD Xion before her, and then key art beginning after her, means I'm doing a lot of damage to all parts of the raid boss, no matter what attribute it may be, because I'll always get that superior element. The Kingdom Hearts 3 Sora EX is there because even though it does superior damage to everything, it still gets buffs from its specific color. So that lightning will still get speed buffs from the Sora. So this is going to be my new raid setup, and then I have an old Attack Boost 2 Max Lux Plus that I plan on slapping on that lightning, so that's why I'm going to give her a magic mirror. Normally I'd advise against it, but in this case, not only do I have this awesome setup, she also has damage in raids. So I did the math, I cranked out the math. The World of Final Fantasy Lightning will do more damage to a raid boss because it's boosted and because of its trait, in comparison to the Xion HD before it, which is Tier 6 Guilt. So even with the Tier 6 Guilt, if I did my math right, the World of Final Fantasy Lightning will still do more damage specifically to raid bosses. So that's why I'm going to give her a magic mirror. Also because when you Guilt World of Final Fantasy medals, you get 2 Nova levels in comparison to the 1, and then when you max Guilt it, you get 10 Nova levels in comparison to the 5. So let's go ahead and, again, this took a lot of thinking. I would not recommend this for a lot of people, but in my specific situation, this is going to be really helpful. So let me go ahead and take a screenshot of this because I am about to use my first out of 7 Mickey and Brooms for the night. And see, all I can hope is that it's a good guild because I still don't want to use 30 magic mirrors if it hits 70. So let's hit like 85 or something. That stings. That really stings. Whew. This is, I don't know if this is karma telling me to stop, but 70 is the lowest it could have possibly been. So, I don't know. I gotta keep going though because it is still the special attack campaign, but man, that stings pretty bad. Okay, so that's our World of Final Fantasy Lightning Guilted. I'll throw 30 mirrors on her down the line maybe, but man, that's a lot. Alright, moving on to our second medal, which we will be guilting. We will be guilting our, where are you? Illustrated Sora A. Now this is a tier 4 medal, but the reason I'm guilting it is because of its traits. This is the only medal I have that has ground and aerial enemy defense minus 60, and it's also a buffer, so it's a good medal to have guilted, especially for things like Coliseum, for Union Cross. So that's why I'm guilting this medal, and I've had these traits for like 3 months, and I still haven't gotten anything better on other medals. Like on Key R10, I got the ground minus 60, but not the aerial. So I think this is a good medal to Mickey and Broom for purposes of Coliseum, just to help me advance. Alright, here we go. 3 Mickey and Brooms on our Illustrated Sora A. And again, I've been thinking about this for a long time, guys. So let's hope with this Sora A, I'm able to further advance in the Coliseum and do better. Alright, here we go. 3 Mickey and Brooms on our Illustrated Sora A. I really wanted this medal when it came out because it was just so cool. I just really liked it. Alright, so what's our guilts? 103. Man, such bad guilts. Oh my gosh, that's 27 magic mirrors. So far we've saved a total of, when you think of the minimum of the bonus campaign, we've saved a total of 13 mirrors, which is like nothing. Alright, well there is our Illustrated Sora A guilted. And then lastly, the final medal that will be receiving Mickey and Brooms is going to be our pal HD Xion. Again, this is going to save me a minimum of 40 mirrors, so I totally think it's worth it. Alright, here it is. Let's hope we can get like 170. Come on, Xion, save the day and save us some magic mirrors. 162. Okay, so we saved 22 mirrors on this one. We got that's a good investment. So that's only 18 magic mirrors to guilt, which is really good. But with that being said, those are all my guilts. That is me using 7 Mickey and Brooms. That is so many Mickey and Brooms. Oh, it's going to take a long time to get over this for me. But yeah, that is my guilting video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed my weird little explanations. And I'm sorry it took such a long time for just guilting 4 medals. But hopefully the explanations, you know, kind of help your process of thinking and kind of make it easier for you to decide whether or not you need to use your Mickey and Brooms. But with that being said, that's the end of this video. Thank you guys for sticking around, and if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, feel free to leave them in the comments below, and I will try my best to get to them. But until the next video, everyone, take it easy.